and welcome once again to the Comics Talk with Reverend Sully. I just that was what was on the show notes. Come on, man. You know I don't make any choices here. I don't do anything. I'm just the talent. I just read my lines. Okay. My executive producer is a Pikachu. Writes all the bits. He does everything, you know. This is the studio audience. That's Canadian Bear. And over there, wearing my Cecil hat, is Drinka, the Critical Drinka plushie. And he's in the control booth. He's the boom mic operator and cameraman and runs the show backstage. This is filmed. This is your live stream of the week. Our Sunday magazine show. Filmed before a studio audience of my stuffed animals and yourself. From Boston Studios, which is down the street from the corner, and a Dunkin' Donuts, and it's wicked pissa. You get a large regular. I didn't want any sugar. I wanted 3 Splendors. Okay, what are you trying to do? Give me diabetes? Oh, the older you get, the less funnier that joke gets. But here, cheers. I hope you brought a snack. I got some hot chocolate. You got Lane Kramer, who showed up early. How you doing? Here we go. Hey, Bone. What is up? Sunday is our fun day. And we talk about new releases. We've got a lot of new comic books to cover this week. So bring a lunch, pack a bag, bring some deodorant, maybe even a potential, mate. You know what I mean? So, it's going to be a long haul, wagons east, wagons west, or whatever, however it goes, But we've got new comic books to review. We're going to play What's in the Bag? That's right. What's in the bag? This is the ubiquitous brown paper flat bag that we get from our local comic book shop, our LCS. That's right. Your local comic book shop. Here, and within striking distance of my own my fortress of solitude, I have 8 different local comic book shops within striking distance. I could be there within an hour. 4 of them are closer than others. Seriously, I have my very local. I have a second backup store that, they carry variant covers too. I went to both of them this week, to be honest. Because that's got a story to it, doesn't it? And if those 2 don't work out, well, you know what? I know of this one, that one. Oh, wow. Hold the phone. That's 5. I got 5 different local comic book shops, literally within just striking distance, and the other 3 within an hour on public transportation, but those 5, the sleeper must awaken. Paul, the sleeper must awaken. That's the old tune. But this is an old bag, but it's filled with new funny books. And I've been recycling my ubiquitous brown paper flat bags. They cost an extra $0.25 because of the city ordinance. The city is just trying to get us to bring our own bags, like use a tote bag or something like that. So if you need a bag from the establishment, there is a surcharge for that. And that's, hey, we voted for this stuff, didn't we? And this one's close to being retired, but it's full of comic books. I also got a package from Berkeley, California, my hidden 6th local comic book shop, or my 9th local comic book shop within striking distance of this, our very own Fortress of Solitude. AL, how are you? Hope everyone is feeling well in your family. And also, I hope, you have a quick review of your Whataburger experience as well. I might be having a Whataburger experience myself. I'm considering going to Dallas Fan Expo this year. Why? Because I can afford it. And I would love to hang out with these cats just for a couple of days, enjoy the city for a few days, go to Fan Expo. I'm going to Fan Expo Boston anyway, but I mean, when do I ever get out of the city? When do I ever, I did that for for Hartford, Connecticut, of all places, in 2022, Connecticon in Providence, Rhode Island. And you know what? That was about sure that the fare was cheaper. I took the Amtrak, but I've been pricing Boston to Dallas, and it's pretty affordable. And I mean, that sounds just like, hey, I can do this, so I just might. So stay on the horn. We might have some live streams from my phone when I've already decided on a cosplay. Yeah, I know. I mean, I do, and it's like I've already got it dialed in too. I mean, it would have been it's gonna okay. My cosplay, yeah, it's my idea. What am I going to cos just for one day? I don't want to do all 3 days, but one day is enough for me, and it's usually Saturday. So I like to cosplay on the Saturday, and it would be black costume Spider-Man. Yeah, nice, light, mobile. Just what I learned from hanging out with Anna, that Star Wars girl, for 15 minutes or so. Well, we sat for her show. We sat for Simcast Live at Boston Fan Expo 2022. But she went as 7 of 9 from Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and it was so light and mobile. And because she knows how to travel, and she knows how to cosplay when she travels. And I was just so impressed because she looks so comfortable. She looked adorable too. She looks great in real life. She's a real girl, and she really looks like that. She's incredibly awesome, great energy. And where will I keep my keys in my wallet? Maybe in a gherkin, and people will just think it's my endowment. That's what I'm hoping for. Whataburger was meh. I hear ya. Like, okay. I mean, it took me a couple of times to get used to, like, no, this is your number. Go sit at your table. They'll bring it to you. And but I like the fries and the spicy ketchup. That was the best part of it. The Whataburger itself was just like, yeah, fresh lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and mayo, and it was a really decent sized burger too. But what got me was, just the fries, and that kept me coming back. Hey James, what is up? How are you? Thank you for coming out today. Where will I keep my keys in my wallet? Well, a hotel key is a card anyway. You would just need, like, one of those, like, wallet. It's a good question. I'm gonna be looking for it. A wallet, a credit card wallet that has an RFID coding on it, because that's what you got to look out for these days. And so you could put a couple of cards in there, and then if it has a cash clip, that would be best. And I don't really buy comic books. I don't really go diving for the dollar bins until Sunday, because the closer you get to closing, the cheaper the books get, especially if they're the dollar bin. They go from, like, one for $1 to, like, maybe, like, 3 for $1 sometimes. It depends on what the vendor's doing and what they got. And Wendy's is reliable. Yeah, I like Wendy's a lot. I love burgers. I really do. They're a part of my diet. I should figure that out the older I get. We never had a Oh, really? Never had a Whataburger, we don't have Whataburger here in Boston, or In-N-Out In-N-Out, or Jack in the Box. We had one Roy Rogers, and that was on the Massachusetts Turnpike at the border to Connecticut, I believe. And Arby's was a new thing, but it didn't catch on at all. We had Krispy Kreme donuts come into Boston. They failed, as you know what I mean. They just, all those Krispy Kremes that opened to much fanfare about a decade or more ago. I mean, McDonald's does not hold the breakfast here, or it's all Dunkin' Donuts. It is that Ben Affleck commercial. I mean, he's hamming it up, sure, but I mean, no, Dunkin' Donuts is the local culture around here. Really, I don't even like it. I'll get a hot chocolate, but I'll also get a Boston cream donut. I heard Anime Matsuri is good. I'm not really too into anime and manga, and that's what Kineticon 2022 taught me, that it was for cosplayers, it was for gamers, but it had a big slant on anime and manga, and not that much on comic books. But I had a fun time all the same, and I met up with 3 friends from our local meetup squad. I met up with Brightest Day, Macklin Made It, and Dr. Rachel Lindbergh, and that was really fun. We've met up before for Fan Expo and for movies and movie and margaritas night and fajitas. It's really nice. So if you have a chance, if you if you say, hey, I'm from New York City too. I mean, like, maybe just like have a cup of coffee on new release day, or just be like, hey, let's go to this comic book shop, and just it's fun to make new friends. And it's great. Thank you guys so much for showing up. Let's get to the comic books. We also have 2 bonus rounds. I got a package in the mail from Fantastic Comics. I was saying my 9th local comic book shop is Fantastic Comics in Berkeley, California. Yule Carter, his deets are in the details of this show, in the description. Go and get them. You could be your own mailbox away from having your very own local comic book shop. Seriously, this is not a paid endorsement. He's my friend, and I shop there, and I'm very happy with it. I also went to two of my local comic book shops this week. I went Wednesday after work, and I couldn't get. There were like at least 5 new releases missing that I wanted. I think it was 4 or 5. I got them. I think I got them. No, there's one I missed. Sickness number 4. That was. But that is so indie. I'm going to have to special order that. I'm going to ask Yule Carter of Fantastic Comics if he's got my copy of The Sickness number 4. He had my copy of The Sickness number 2 and a variant copy as well. So, hey. But let's get to it. We are reviewing Marvel Comics. We are reviewing DC Comics. I've got, how many DC Comics did I read this week? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I read 10 brand new DC Comics. They were in my digital pirate chest. A friend of mine shares their Dropbox with me, and it's nice because they are basically the patron of the show with the content that we're able to cover. And so I'm very gracious and thank you so very much. Hey, Lane Kramer, how you do? Exactly, the digital pirate chest. And how many Marvel comics did we read this week? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah, 16. Was that 16? Wow. Let's get to it. Let's start with the Marvel comics then. X-Force number 49 by Benjamin Percy. It's pretty good. It's action. It's action oriented. We have A Tale of Two Beasts. And also, so we're literally buying. I'm literally buying the floppies for Wolverine in this whole Fall of the House of X trade dress. This is the Fall of the House of X segment of the X-Men book. They share a trade dress. They can also probably share the powers of the House of the powers of the House of 10. The rise of the powers of the rise of the powers of 10. Is that it? I know, because I read it this week. I know, huh? Okay, but it says right here, note, this story takes place prior to Sabretooth War, Fall of the House of X, and Rise of the Powers of 10. Okay, that's good to know, because Sabretooth War takes place after X-Force 50. It says so on the info dump page. And it says, but before Fall of the House of X. and Rise of the Powers of 10, which is the Roman numeral 10, which I think is reference to Moira 10 and this 10th timeline that keeps getting like all of these loops that spin. It appears like on the infographic page is like everything rests on Moira 10, I guess. She's the complete foundation to whatever is going on. And I guess if Charles can get to Moira and kill her, he can just restart the whole thing over again. But I believe that Moira only got 10 lives. So would even killing her reset the timeline at this point? I don't know. Do you know X-Men better than me? We talked about X-Men for real yesterday on Wes's show. I had such a good time hanging out with the boys on the show, and we talked about X-Men for like almost the whole show. And that was some really good comic book shop style conversation. And I got some of the nicest comments in the chat. And hey, Mark McGrath, how are you? Good to see you, man. And AL, thank you for being a walking zombie and coming to the show anyway. Hopefully we can help you take, purge some of your steam. You know what I mean? And talk about comic books. Take our minds off our minds. This is why we read comic books. This is what escapism is for. It's so we can have a little bit of respite. We can leave this world and its problems behind by entering this fictional world made of paper and print and pixels. Oh, the alliteration. I'm such a romantic. But I'm digging X-Force because they got we have the Beast who's turning like, Hank McCoy, the current era Beast. And he is like got his own plans. He's got like this Krakoan battle suit. And so he's just this wild card right now. And it's wonderful because stories, there's something called, you have the hero, you have the villain, and then you have something in between. And it's called the negation of the negation. The best example of the negation is Gollum from Lord of the Rings, and also Joker from Batman. Someone that has their own agenda, that is neither a good guy or a bad guy, or more. They're pretty much a bad guy, sure, but they're not your big bad, and they present their own set of problems. And and then what we got here is with the Krakoan resurrection protocols, they have spare bodies, and so they have a spare Hank McCoy body that is revolving around with the memories, and his physique he's had secondary evolutions since this time, but it's the new Defenders era of Hank McCoy, which I believe I don't know if it's parallel to Hank being on the Avengers, because Hank left the X-Men for a while. Specifically, he's not in the 1975 Giant Size X-Men team, because that's Wolverine, the introduction of Wolverine, Banshee, Thunderbird, Nightcrawler, Storm, the modern X-Men team. So Hank McCoy went over to Avengers and the New Defenders as well. So there's someone out there with more knowledge than me that I won't have to look it up on a wiki. And if you know that, drop that info in the chat and I'll read it aloud. Yeah, X-Force number. At least it's being written by Ben Percy, who's also the co-writer of Wolverine right now. And so Wolverine is really literally tearing it up. It's good. It's bloody. It's bi-weekly and in 10 parts. So it's going to take 5 months to get to, and $50. It's a $4.99 comic book. As we like to say on the show, do the math, mouth breather. Do the math, mouth breather. That means you, Pikachu. I know I'm not making fun of you. I might be teasing him just a little bit. Oh, next week is bath day. Okay, so you can't get around that, okay? So yeah, X-Force 49, pretty good. Ultimate Spider-Man number 2. As my therapist says, let's put a pin in that. It was sold out at my local comic book shop, but I went to my backup local comic book shop. And yeah, we'll talk about Ultimate Spider-Man in the second part of our show when we find out what's in the bag. Spider-Woman Gang War number 4. Yeah. Star Wars 43. It's I wonder if this volume of Star Wars is coming to an end as well. I can see that on leagueofcomicgeeks.com. If I go all the way down to the end, it looks like it's going, well, that's just May. It's been solicited up to issue 46 in May. Rescue of Mon Mothma. And because solicitations only go 3 months in advance, I wonder, because they're getting really close to the opening crawl of Return of the Jedi. And hey, Dwayne Muth. There we go. And Mark McGrath has our answer. New Defenders is after Avengers, but Hank does pop back once in a while. I really like the Avengers with Hank McCoy because they had a lot of pop culture references back in that time too, and quipping, the whole team dynamic, and just there's just a lot of ball busting and good natured stuff. Everyone liked each other though, It was a different time. It was. We are live streaming. That's right. I figured out my problem with YouTube. They actually finally answered me succinctly, showing me like, oh yeah, your live streams don't count for your public view hours. And I'm like, we couldn't have told me this week 1. This is week 13. Now I feel like a bit of an idiot. But also, like, why bother live streaming? I mean, I'm chasing 4,000 hours, to apply to be a partner. That's over 200 public view hours that got taken away from me just out of that. And I'm like, I mean, why even bother? Well, because it's fun. And that's it. I mean, there's no other reason to come here and talk to everyone. Let's see. Digital Pirate Chest. Yes, Digital Pirate Chest. And how about replays of the live stream? Those get those have different metrics. And it takes like a day, or it takes over 24 hours for the live stream to completely load up to YouTube. So and that's when public view hours kick in, is like when it's a YouTube video from the YouTube server, I guess. I can see that, but yeah, good to see you, Dwayne Muth. Huzzah, and happy Sunday. Welcome to the magazine show. All righty. Where were we? We were talking about Star Wars 43. Actually, see, we weren't talking about Star Wars 43. I was just actively musing, when is this thing gonna end? Is there like a new issue 1 coming up? Can we like go to a different era? Can we even if it's post, give me like 2 years after the fall of the Empire. Let's talk about some like remnant stuff. Wouldn't that be set in the years of Mandalorian season 1 and 2? In a way? I mean, I don't know. I'm a fake fan anyway, because I don't embrace the Disney stuff. Why should I care anyway? Well, I will always root for Star Wars to succeed. There was Spider-Boy number 4 by you, Dan Slott, and we've got 2 tales of the Arachnid, and They're all right. I mean, it's just like, I mean, is it setting us up for an eventual? I've been calling it from like the day one about Bailey. There's going to be a heel turn, and he might be the next big bad. Wouldn't that be interesting? I mean, because he's a ginger and he's a white kid, and I mean, so he's got, seriously. I mean, like, subvert expectations. He's always talking about like how poor he is and how like much better life would be if he used his powers for self-advantage. So he's literally challenged. He's literally, listen, this kid's Maslow's hierarchy of needs are not being met, and this is a young person. So these are also negative, highly negative, almost traumatic experiences at a young age. They call that the ACE. It's like how many things a young person witnesses as a developing young person. It's a psych thing, and I just see Bailey Briggs blowing it. I mean, he's got a good recipe of a big bad brewing within him. That's what I think. And Century 3 of 4. So yeah, like they're not. It appears that if you're buying these Marvel stories in trade paperback, they're getting an issue slimmer now. I mean, they were at one day they were usually like 6 issues. Typically, there were 5 recently. Now there's a complete cycle of 4-issue minis. Also, like, I mean, Grant Morrison and Warren Ellis were the masters of pulling off 3-issue arcs. It was great because it was a lot distilled down too. I mean, there were 3 acts, act 1, 2, and 3, and they did a lot with their whatever it was, like 60 to 68 pages. And I love that stuff. So it is about economy, and it's because you're only given so many resources. You're only given now 4 issues to tell the story. Century number 3 was the most entertaining of the series so far. This is just some kind of weird modernity tale of, super diverse and representative recipients of Bob Reynolds' powers. Bob Reynolds, who is he? Well, we all forgot about who Bob, because he was mind wiped out of history. But the Sentry was one of the greatest champions of the Marvel Universe way back in the day. But something happened, and he was erased from time. But then he came back, and this was like 20 years ago. I think he's a Bendis character, and he has a bad side to him called the Void, which powers him up. So now that the Sentry had come back, he died, and he was resurrected, and he was haunted. His corpse was, and then the power that when he blew up, the power that the Sentry power was divided between 5 different humans. And so, Paul Jenkins, you got it. Thank you, Mark McGrath. You're right. Yes, that rings a bell. That rings the bell. It's not a ding. That's a ring. Indeed. Didn't get any cheaper, though. That's right. I mean, like, you're going to be getting, 65, 64 page, 60, I don't know. Hey, they're 20 pages of story and art sometimes. So you're going to be getting just like 80-page stories, with the square back, trade paperback. Bendis. Blah! Exactly. I know you come here to feel better, AO. I mean, you don't want to hear about Bendis. Neither do I. We had Rise of the Powers of 10, issue number 2, written by Kieran Gillen. Now, this stuff is off the map weird, and it's hard to follow. And it does have, like, it comes with a map, which is good. Instead of an info dump page, it tells us about, it has an info dump page. Here, I'll read it to you, because this is, this is issue 2 of Rise of the Powers of 10. Issue 2, Out of Space, X-Men created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. This Kieran Gillen is the writer. R.B. Silva is the artist. David Curiel is the color artist. VC's Clayton Cowles gets a lot of work, is the letterer. and Tom Muller and Jay Bowen are the designers. That means that, they design pretty much like, I guess, the trade dress and these info dump pages. I know the info dump pages that's a Hickman device, but they all share, these years of the Krakoan Age books share that theme and share that device, this literary device. It's an expository and narration device too. It's Hickman light. All the trappings with none of the talent. Exactly. Lauren Amaro is the associate editor. Jordan D. White is the editor, with C.B. Sobolski, the editor-in-chief. Exhausted by years of oppression and bigotry, mutant kind, an offshoot of humanity with extraordinary powers, founded their own nation on the living mutant island of Krakoa. However, the compromises made in service of bringing this nation to life have corroded the foundation of Krakoa, and new threats have emerged as a result. The most catastrophic being that Mr. Sinister has used the resources of Krakoa in order to attempt to become the dominant power of the universe, in an attempt echoed by 3 other clones of the original Nathaniel Essex. So you have Mr. Sinister, you have Dr. Stasis, you have the other one, I forget his name, and then you have like a Mother Superior, Mother Righteous, I think so who is a female clone of Mr. Sinister that's based after Nathaniel Essex's wife from back in the day. I had to look this up on a wiki. That's right, a wiki. However, all of the Essex clones' attempts were for naught. Are you following this? I read this. This is like the 3rd time I've read this info blurb. I still have no idea what's going on. I've heard this. All of the clones' attempts were for naught, as unknown to them, their multiple attempts to ascend to Dominion status were consumed by the original Nathaniel Essex and used to fuel his own ascension to the Dominion. Enigma, and that's his. That is there. So you see the disembodied kind of cosmic face with a crown on his head instead of like the usual suit of cards. The club, the diamond, the heart, and it was the clubs, the diamonds, hearts, and spades. And now you can tell which one's Enigma by the king's crown. Having failed to stop Enigma's ascension in the present, Professor Xavier and his band of mutants are out of options and must turn their attention to the past and prevent the circumstances that allowed Enigma's creation, the entire 10th life of Moira X, and the creation of Krakoa itself. Yeah, and who's in we got Professor X, we've got Rasputin 4, we've got Doug Cypher Ramsey, we got Moira, we've got Nimrod, Omega Sentinel, and Enigma. And that is our dramatis personae. I haven't even talked about the art. I haven't talked about the coloring. I haven't talked about the digital stuff to it. I don't know if that's Rachel or Hope. I know they call her Rachel, but do they call her Hope again after this? There are a couple of like timeline things. There are things that like are ripped out of Dune. If you know what a no ship is, it's something that exists outside of space and time. So the prescient ones can't pick you up. It can't follow you, and I have no idea what's going on in this book. They're like outside of space time. They're being hunted, and only Rasputin 4 can get outside of the ship to fend off the zombie sentinels that are after them. And outside, and it's like they're outside of space and time. They're outside of the multiverse. They're outside of the timelines. and they're the ones that are going to save everything. And then hopefully just everyone wakes up tomorrow in their beds at the Xavier's Academy at some typical age, and they all have the school uniforms, and they all have the danger room, and everyone's themselves once again, and they just tell X-Men stories. And just, I mean, it's too much. The world is too heavy for this flimsy paper fiction to support its weight. With all the activism and all the neediness, I mean, I've heard it all this week. And I mean, just, I think, I mean, I appeal to them. What does this have to do with Xavier's dream? This is not Xavier's dream. You know, I follow Xavier's dream. I mean, it's just, it's so, you know, but it's so typical of this day and age, huh? There's Predators, number 1, a complete miss from me. It's called Predator: The Last Hunt, the 20th Century Studios imprint, written by Ed Brisson, and there's some kind of, there's an Alien 20th Century imprint continuity going on at Marvel, and there's a parallel Predator one. And they also just had some kind of, I don't know if it was continuity or not, doesn't, but it's like Predator versus Wolverine, which was kind of good too. Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, often duplicated but never reproduced. It's 32 Flavors of Nick Weiser, straight from Chicago himself. Thank you, Nick, for showing up. I hope you enjoy the pizza. I don't have any pizza today. Well, we have comics, plenty of comic books. Let's see. Marvel Secret Wars Battle World 4 of 4. That happened. And that's what's like, they are making comic books for us older fans. It's just comics like this meaningless comic, literally shoehorned between 2 panels of Secret Wars, issue number 12. I mean, what is that? How does this go? Let's see. I know it's in very small print right here, like on the last pages. Oh, here it is. The time missing between page 36, panels 4 and 5 of the original Secret Wars number 12. That's where Battle World numbers 1 through 4 take place. Okay. I mean, that's about as cheap as it comes, man. I mean, oh gosh, no thank you. And I lived through that originally. I mean, that's like, it's like right after Spidey gets the symbiote costume, which he does in issue number 8. Okay. There is Gang War Luke Cage 4 of 4. One of these unnecessary tie-in issues of an event. There every time you get an event, you have these really superfluous, they don't matter to the overall story. I've already lived this too over at DC about 15 years ago or so with 52, the weekly, and more specifically Countdown, which became Countdown to Infinite Crisis the following year. And that weekly, and all the one-shots and all the stuff that just didn't matter to Final Crisis. Seriously, that blew my mind. So this is just like one of those. It's 4 issues of just some Luke Cage story. We got Jessica Jones, we got Misty Knight. You know, Danny Rand shows up. He doesn't have the Power Fist anymore, the Iron Fist anymore, but he's still a kung fu fighter. And Colleen Wing, I guess. So we got Cloak and Dagger, and everyone's teaming up to help out, you know, save people from the gang war fallout. And it's Luke Cage is the mayor of New York, and what he has to do is support the existing laws until they get changed. And one existing law is the vigilante law. And so he's breaking the law if he suits up and uses his superpowers to defend the city. But he finally says no. And he asks the policeman, "Are you taking us in?" The policemen are like, "No, the aldermans are meeting right now. They're changing that. I mean, we need to, like, go forward." Well, who put the mayor before Luke Cage put that law into effect? And that mayor was one Wilson Fisk, aka the Kingpin. Marvel stuff, Marvel stories. Indeed. Hulk number 9 by Philip Kennedy Johnson. Let's put a pin in that. And I will say that this was sold out at my LCS, my primary LCS, but I'm getting there about 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Wednesday. If they open at 11, so that's 12, 1, 2, 3, 4. They've been open for 5 hours. It's not about blaming anything or complaining. I mean, they have to do what they have to do. I mean, they're not going to overstock the shelves. It's like weird to me though. It's not like, what about people that came in on Saturday and stuff? I mean, they're already missing out. I'm missing out. And I had to start a poll list. It was like pulling teeth with me to get a poll list. It takes all the fun out of it. It makes it so obligatory. And and just to let you know that 32 Flavors of Nick Weiser is doing a show with Wes from Thinking Critical, where they're doing every issue of Planetary. Nick, are you doing 27 issues of Planetary, or are you doing 30? Let me know. But yeah, I mean, AL goes on Saturdays, I believe, and AL uses a poll list because, if you're not going on new release day, like, who can? I can. 27. There, 20. Well, there, I hope you have room for the three other issues. 31 issues. There is a preview. Indeed. Hey, Jim. Good to see you. Watching while food shopping. Indeed. And Nick saying, but if Wes changes his mind, I will not object. Yeah, it's really good because it's about superhero archetypes. You have the archaeologists of superheroes, and it's just everything. It's about the archetypical power of. I love it. It's really good stuff. But we'll get back to Hulk 9 in just a little bit. We have Gods 5 of 8. Gods is ending. Thank Gods. It's so pretty. It's so well drawn. It is so boring. I mean, Hickman fans hopefully like this. Remember when this came out, it had the huge issue number 1 prize. And hi, Jim. And it was just like, it was all this ballyhoo and hot air, and this is going to change Marvel magic and cosmic stuff forever. The history of it, just known as it's all inaccurate. Here comes your retcon. Saved by the power of retcon. No, it didn't take. And so all he's getting is 8 issues out of this. And, it's, I'm so bored with it. You know what I mean? We had Guardians of the Galaxy annual number 1, 2024, which wraps up the Lansing Kelly run on Guardians of the Galaxy. Spectacular art by Kev Walker. I just want to say this. The Kev Walker art kept me tuned in. And the info dump pages of this specific comic book itself helped keep my interest in what was going on. And it succeeded as a narrative and a literary device for these, for these periodicals. It really does. I don't think that they reprint all these individual info dump pages for the trade paperback. I don't think they do. I wouldn't guess they would. But between the info dump pages and see, I'm not the biggest Guardians of the Galaxy fan, and Lansing and Smelly, more like it. I bet. No, they're all gonna laugh at you. They're all gonna laugh at you. But Guardians of the Galaxy by Lansing and Kelly, see, we like to make fun of them because they're like bringing your little kid brothers to like the baseball game. You really need someone with an arm and a bat, and all you got are these weakling kids that just they really want to help, but they keep to bumble up everything. And it's just like, what can you do? You're your kid brothers, and just like, oh man, I just wanted to play baseball. I don't know where that came from. It came from the mind of Pikachu, who writes my show notes. I'm just the talent. I read everything he writes. Just to keep it safer for me that way. I have some mitigation, some insulation, some plausible deniability. And yet sometimes it's all we need in life. But Guardians of the Galaxy, by Lansing and Kelly, wasn't all that bad because I decided that they are not trying to write a Warren Ellis fanfic. They're just writing from themselves. See, I find it very refreshing when these writers who we deride a lot can actually deliver the goods and do the job. And it pleases me, such as like Steve Orlando when he did the 5-issue Miguel O'Hara Spider-Man 2099 series recently. It was like Marvel Team Up 2099. It was really fun. But it was such tonally opposite to other works of his that I've only experienced recently, such as Astonishing Iceman and the Scarlet Witch stuff. And I'm like, there's a tonal difference. It's like he was actually writing a superhero comic book in the Miguel O'Hara, and it was so really good to see because he gets his fair share of grief from my side of the aisle because of the quote unquote tonal shift. Like Teenie Howard, I'm so ignorant of her negative impact on X-Men stories. I really am. I skipped all of that stuff, really. But what I am reading is her Catwoman and her recent stuff, especially it's post Gotham War. Something happened to Selina where she's experiencing some kind of meta power where she gets 9 lives. And I like the line work. And once again, when these derided creators can produce something competent, something that's like, hey, wow, you can actually do this job. This is fine. This is great. Thank you for the decent story. I like that. So Lansing and Kelly, I'm not a Guardians fan. This was fun. This was good. Thank you. Here we go. We're coming back to that in the DC pile. I got good words for someone that I usually hate too. We got Edge of the Spider-Verse, Weapon 8, issue number 1. It's just some Spidey multiverse stuff. We have a Weapon 8 out there, which is like the Weapon X. So, but it's a weaponized Peter Parker that kind of like he kind of grows from a drone to closer to the Peter Parker that we know by the end of this tale, with a kind of maybe even a little dash of Deadpool in there too. But who is the wisecracking, one-liner, first? Was it Spider-Man or Deadpool? It was Spider-Man. Hey, David, how are you? Good to see you. Teenie Howard or Shemp Howard? Shemp. And but yeah, that first story was good. alternate universe stuff used to be really fun, like when you could sell action figures. I used to love alternate costumes, especially if they made it into an action figure. Now it's kind of just like, oh, multiverse. I think we're all kind of just done with multiverse. Yeah, Jim, I hear you too, because Teeny Howard's is no, it's Josie Campbell who's taking over Shazam from Mark Waid, and Josie Campbell is doing Amazon Attacks right now, which has Mary Marvel, and Josie Campbell just finished up that Mary Marvel mini series when she goes off to the feminist college to receive her NPC downloading. And yeah, what did I just say? I did not. You wrote this. I am not saying stuff. I am not saying divisive culture war bullshit. No, you keep that stuff to your own. You get your own show. SSOC this week. What is SSOC? Let's see. We have a question in the comment section. It's Lane Kramer. So, Eric, let me get your opinions to go back and read Jed McKay's Moonlight in their trade, or wait for the omnibus coming later this year. I'm not the biggest Moonlight fan. Oh, thank you, David. I got some nice comments in the live chat, and it was really nice. And it was fun, and Jim was there, and Dr. Aaron Sparrow and Wes and Doc and Drew, and I'm kind of like really considering going to Dallas Fan Expo this year because I can do it, I can swing it, and I want to hang out with these guys. You know what I mean? I'll get yeah. I'm already going to Fan Expo Boston, but I mean, I'll go to Fan Expo Dallas. Get some Whataburger. Get my own Whataburger. I don't have to listen to your stories about Whataburger. And there doesn't seem to be any spicy ketchup with this Whataburger fries. I don't want any part of that conversation. How dare you? But it was nice. We had this huge X-Men conversation. It was really awesome. I really enjoyed the hell out of that. We got Daredevil by Solomon Ahmed. Really good covers by John Romita Jr. I mean, the artwork is okay. The artwork is done by Aaron Cooter. And it seems to be Matt versus his own Seven Deadly Sins. It doesn't suck as a comic book, and actually, there's this kind of new outfit for Daredevil in the last couple of pages, and I like it. I like it a lot. Elektra did this once. Do you remember when Elektra, dropped red and went all white? And I think she was shaving her head at the time, so she had the bandana on as well. So she didn't have the iconic, Greek curly hair. You know what I mean? That kind of like, she looks like a fucking Greek vase, man. Have you ever seen that? The Frank Miller, Klaus Janson stuff from her origin stuff. I mean, she was only in Daredevil for like 16 issues or something. Like from 174 to 181. I don't want to do math. But really, I mean, I'm a huge old fan of Daredevil. There's Captain Marvel #5 by Ulysses Wong and Jan Balzadua. And this is just, I've come to the point where, it's great to talk to other people. It's good to talk to differing opinions, because by there you can have your ideas challenged and you can formulate maybe different ways to express how you're feeling. And this is part of this is actually on the agenda in the show notes. I was looking up, I was talking to Robert Meyer Burnett on Twitter. Not really. I was responding to a tweet of his, but that is a sense of correspondence as well. He does follow me and I follow him. And it's always very funny to see. Thank you, Dwayne. See, there we go. Dwayne Muth. You got to grab off the green monster there and gunned it at home base, and he got that out. How about that? Baseball season's in the air, man. I love baseball. I do. I think hockey's the best. And I do like football, but I love baseball. And you know what? I went to a basketball game this year. That was really fun. And but yeah, Captain Marvel #5. It's not made for me. And Robbie was saying how much of maybe let's see. Maybe I can pull it up and we can read it ourselves together right here, right now. And this great video thing that we call the YouTubes. Here we go. I'll do that. And share the screen. Do. Here we go. Share that Twitter. Robert Meyer Burnett. Hearing somebody say, it wasn't made for you may be the most inane phrase in fandom. They've completely diminished and dismissed your own fandom, opinion, and whatever else you have to share, and at the same time trying to tell you they understand something when you do not. I agree with him for the most part. I really do. And I responded about being a comic book fan. And in the past 20 years or so, less than that, but comic books used to share the newsstand with other periodical publications. So there are other periodical publication houses out there besides what DC uses and what Marvel uses and Image uses. I mean, these are other places that make periodical print publications and distributes them as well. And we're talking about like Hearst Magazines, which has 25 different titles. Condé Nast. I'm not even sure if like Warner must own Time, which there's like, does Time magazine even matter anymore? But there are several different magazine publishers. But I was focusing strictly on the Hearst magazines, and they have 25 different periodical publications that come out monthly or have a regular frequency. And such as with comic books, that they share a marketplace. It's called the newsstand. And I see that, okay, so we have Hearst. They publish Cosmopolitan and Elle magazine. And they also publish Car and Driver and Esquire magazine. And they also publish the Food Network magazine, Good Housekeeping, and HGTV magazine, Men's Health, Women's Health, Town and Country, and Popular Mechanics. Out of all of those magazines, those offerings and print publications at the newsstand, there are some magazines that aren't made for me. Cosmopolitan, Elle, Women's Health. I don't feel that they're made for me. I could buy them if I had an interest in it. But I am comfortable. When someone says, the crux of the biscuit here is like, if somebody says to you, it just wasn't made for you, that is condescending. But for me to approach something and judge it and being like, it wasn't made for me, I think that's a different intent, because I'm giving it a fair chance. I'm giving it a fair shake, such as, oh God, the current Rolling Stone is terrible. And I hope that's the next to fall. I mean, geez. Sorry. And I had a subscription to Rolling Stone in high school. That was the coolest magazine in the world. But let's see. I just, go Brewers. Karen Sparrow is great too. Yes, he is. Karen Sparrow. Lane Kramer was just in a Discord chat with 1/6 Scale Figures. They were talking about Spider-Man 2 game and how Peter Parker comes off as a loser, and more so in the comics. It used to be decent. Yeah, Rolling Stone. It did. And now it's just one side of the aisle, and it's really judgmental, and it's been weaponized. And it's not for all readers. Like, I have liberal values and I have conservative values. You want to see something, you can look at something called the left and the right wing of my American Eagle, and how I need them both to fly. I'll publish that on a post later. That's an old video of mine. And but Hearst Magazine, out of their 25 publications that they make a month, or with their regular frequency, they specifically cater to different audiences, but they have the abilities to produce this content. Yeah. So comic books, taking the power away from the bullpens of the comic book creators of this, of this male dominated workforce, and who weren't all that college educated, being comic book, the big two, get bought out by huge corporate entities. And then you have the march toward modernity. You have college educated people with college values, and that could be marketing stuff too. Like, where DC, Sona DC Comics could be saying, where is my Teen Vogue? Where is my Cosmopolitan? Where is my fair share of this marketplace? Where is my offering for this? It could, I'm trying to see this through some fairness. Yeah. But yeah, that's my thought on it wasn't made for you. Well, yeah, exactly. I agree with Robert. If somebody said to you it wasn't made for you, that is just some conceited, condescending bullshit. And not worthy of your attention. Move along. We're moving up, and the last Marvel comic I had today was Alien from 20th Century Press. It's got Lansing and Kelly. It's got Stephanie Phillips, and it's actually got some Dev Promenick art in this too. It's an anthology book. It's called Black, White, and Blood, issue 1, and it's a play on the 3-color books, but it actually uses a 4th color, because it's usually black, white, and red, black, white, and gold. They did that for Wonder Woman, and but black, white, and blood. So we presume red. Yet the xenomorphs have the color of their blood is the color of this dasher right here, this neon green color, and it's acid. It's violently corrosive acid as well. So that they use red and this color green in the second and third short stories in this anthology, and I thought that was kind of a crap out. I mean, because it's just like, but I get it. They're sticking to that is the color of the xenomorph's blood, yes, but they were using that color green in places where it wasn't representing the blood of the xenomorph. So I don't know. These are just supposed to be black and white comics with the very limited use of the one color to, put that across. I don't know. I think it defies the theme. I think it defies the expectation. I think it's a cheap cop out on the experience of the black, white, and format. Thank you very much for listening. Those are the Marvel comics. That's right. Let's get to the 10 DC comics that I read this week. Lane Kramer thinks that the red, white, and black comic books have run their course. Maybe so. I was a big fan of Batman Black and White. That goes back a while now. They got such wonderful sculptures based upon all of these different artists' interpretations of the Batman and the Bat suit. It's just like so many. I would love to have a shelf full of them. A Frank Miller, a Dave Mazzucchelli, a Sean Gordon Murphy, a Kelly Jones, a Neil Adams, just like a Jim Aparo. I would love, there's so many different Batman looks that I love. You know, there are just so many people have done it well. I mean, like, uh, there's a Batman Black and White Frank Quitely, which is most definitely the Dick Grayson Batman suit. You can tell because of the utility belt and the number of what are they called? The things in Batman's gloves. You know, to catch. You know, they're good at catching blades and arresting your slide down the face of a mountain or something. This is Jim. Thank you, Jim. You are the peanut gallery. I hope you don't have an allergic reaction to peanuts. Lansing and smelly. I love it. All righty. So let's talk about a writer I usually don't like. He is the only writer on Twitter that's blocked me for a reason. Because when Heroes in Crisis came out, and I was so pissed off, I peppered him with tweets. I was just like, his videos, I've deleted them all. I got rid of all of it, but it was like I had this red Columbia vest and I had a Robin R on it. And there's a video of me just like going like this. Rip. Throw it in the garbage. No more. Fuck you. And I did that. I had videos of me throwing away all my Lantern Corps t-shirts. My Batman belt buckle. And just like being like, I'm done with DC Comics. I was so mad. And it wasn't just to Tom King. It's whoever greenlit this, whoever was his editor, and thought that any of that awful depiction of mental health facilities was a good idea. Unsupervised with doctors. No, there was just that was just so weird. I have so many problems with Heroes in Crisis. I can go on for days about that. Hello, Dr. Nitrogen. How's it going? Good to see you. Good to see everyone out there. Thank you so much for tuning in. But yeah, Tom King, he's got one coming out this week, The Penguin, which is a really good applied use of his skill set because Penguin's a bad guy. So nasty things can, should, and could happen in this magazine. Penguin, I have to say, so far has been my favorite Tom King book. I'm liking Penguin. And because Oswald Cobblepot, you know what I mean? I don't want a redeemable story out of this. He's a bad guy. He's a conniving gang lord of Gotham. There's been so many renditions and depictions of Penguin, of Oswald Cobblepot, from the fantastic to the super gritty. And I like this Tom King gritty version of him. I really do. And but we're talking about Wonder Woman number 6. And I really like this issue. The Daniel Sampere art in this really elevates what could be considered a mediocre story. Like, I think the same thing's going on over at Amazing Spider-Man. John Romita Jr. and Scott Hanna's art is really elevating what could be a mediocre Zeb Wells story. But this Wonder Woman, it's well-paced. Great fight scene between Wonder Woman and Giganta and Wonder Woman and Darkseid's daughter. The name's eluding me. She's a very recent character, but she's literally a god. So this is a god level beatdown. And I mean, this was a decent issue. Then it ends with a cutesy silly Billy Trinity story about Trinity as a kid. And it is cutesy and it is silly Billy. And it's actually pretty nice. And I don't mind the Trinity backups. I don't mind Trinity as a character. I mean, lots of girls her age are really kind of, like that. Maybe just, and, girls grow up and you grow out of like those attitude problems. So, I agree, Jim. Yeah. I mean, reenacting trauma in isolation is not good therapy. No doctors were involved. There was no oversight. This was done by the Trinity and an AI that they developed. You know what I mean? And then for Wally West to dox all of that personal information to Lois Lane, and then for Wally West to arrange his, to falsify evidence, and that it was Booster's idea. I mean, there was just so much BS with that. And a Green Lantern was supposedly should have died in issue 1. Was, if you could look it up yourself, it's a Superman using his telescopic vision, and there is most definitely a Green Lantern logo among the bodies at the what's it called? Not so called. It wasn't called Serenity, was it? Yeah, someone will tell me in the chat, and I don't see. I've been trying to block it out. But Wonder Woman #6 ain't all that bad, and there's some just objectionable shit because it's a Tom King book. It's Tom King's got a Tom King, but on the Tom King scale of shittiness, I mean, it's more of like, it's a dry fart. You know what I mean? Think about it like that. You got, Sanctuary. Thank you, Dwayne Muth. Now I can hear the Jay Giles song. He's an old man. Tom King announced he was going to crisis centers to research and said he went to one that didn't fit his vision, so he bailed on that. Of course. Yeah, I mean, yeah. And what happened to Harley's power set after that? Did they explain that? Who cares? Sometimes you just got to say it's just a comic book and don't let it ruin your day. Seriously, that's the healthiest thing you can do. Battling nitwits on the internet. I mean, what do you get as a prize oh, I don't care. Freeze frame. Toot, 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 toot. Freeze frame. Toot. Okay. Titans #8 by Tom Taylor. Well, that happened. It was okay. I mean, not entirely terrible. Superman #11 by Joshua Williamson and Company. Let's put a pin in that. Again, another comic book that was not on the shelves at my local comic book shop on new release day, 5 hours after opening. Yet they are. It is a DC comic, and they're open on Tuesdays, so they put their DC comics out on Tuesdays. They have that right in arrangement. Nightwing #11. We're winding down Tom Taylor's tenure on Nightwing, and it looks like somebody is copying. It's look like Heartless has a copycat, and he's in Gotham. Whoop-de-doo. We've got Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong. 5 out of 7. So there's only 2 more issues left of this. It's really good. I mean, it's eye-catching. The art in it, the art in this is pretty good. The depiction of the superheroes, the look, the aesthetics of them. There's no like risks being taken with like new outfits and stuff. It's like there's some style Bible shit going on right now. I like that. I like that level of consistency, and I miss that sometimes. I like to see that like that universal kind of look. Heartless and brainless. That's fucking funny. Yes, David, I did add Superman to my pull list. Yeah, I think I got 13 books on my pull list altogether. Superman, Green Lantern, Hulk, Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate X-Men, Wolverine, and Sacrificers, Local Man, couple of others too. They'll come back to me. Transformers, Duke, Cobra Commander, G.I. Joe, a Real American Hero, and probably it's probably something else too that I'm not remembering. Not Void Rivals. No, I'm not. I tried Void Rivals. Just the art wasn't doing it for me. But I am liking the other Energon Universe titles. I'm liking Duke a lot. I'm liking Cobra Commander a lot too. But yeah, Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong. It's great use of the action figures. It really is. John Constantine, Hellblazer, Dead in America on Black Label #2 by Simon Spurrier. Stick a pin in that. We'll be coming back to that very shortly. Thank you very much for and smash that like button and make sure you send a super chat because we're running out of Pikachu food, and Pikachu chow isn't pretty cheap these days, and we had to keep the heating bill on. That's it. just heat's pretty, so we had to burn all of Pikachu's manga to make sure that the puppy doesn't die of cold in the middle of the night. So smash that like button and the super chats for Pikachu Chow. Please think of the Pikas. And we are back. Yes, so John Constantine Hellblazer Dead in America 2 was not on the shelves at my local comic book shop. But I, maybe I should add that to my poll list too. Yeah, thank you. And Green Lantern War Journal by Philip Kennedy Johnson. The one Philip Kennedy Johnson book I am not buying. It's actually Pika's. Don't tell him. And Green, I love a good John. It is a good John Stewart book. It's pretty cosmic. It's pretty out there. It's big, and I just not sure if I like the Monmouth's artwork, the line work. Well, the line work's okay, but then there's a gaudiness, Gaudy, gaudy, and a garishness to the colors. And I know, like, the Revenant Queen is supposed to be some kind of undead cosmic horror, so they're using lots of purples and blacks to counter the vibrant greens, the color of willpower. And but it's kind of like Jon Stewart as Goku in a way. It just keeps, eventually the shirt's coming off and he's going Super Saiyan. That's all I'm getting. That's all I see out of it, kind of. Catwoman issue 62 by Teenie Howard. It's part 4 of 9 Lives. And we got D. Giandomenico is our artist for this, taking over from Raffaele, who is doing it's Carmine D. Giandomenico, yes. And it's an Amanda Waller story in this. Amanda Waller is like using her more and more in DCU. She's becoming a big bad. She's already been a force, a menacing force, but chaotic good, at least. She's like the questionable hero on the side of the angels. She'll do the dirty deeds that are done dirt cheap. She's the leader of the Suicide Squad. And this shows a flashback with Selena and then a current day with Selena. And yeah, and it's okay. I mean, like, I like the first 3 issues of this arc, and I wanted to see where it's going. And like I said, it's good to see these creators who get that we kind of slag on sometimes, to do a competent to come and do the yeoman's work. You've done this isn't easy work. Sometimes it is easy work, especially when you're a chef, when you're a writer, and you have the things that, join our 2 trades and cultures is criticism and pleasing guests. So, I mean, there's just no pleasing everyone. But if you can do your job and so at a competent level that you please an overwhelming majority of it, then you are, no Morris does not appear in 9 Lives. That's an old TV commercial reference. Back when there was such a thing as TV. We only had 3 channels. 4 if you counted the hippie shit on PBS. And then came the welfare channels where all you got were reruns and old movies. Then wrestling on Saturdays. It was a dark time. Oh, God. Batman 144. It was the last part of Joker year 1. I thought this was going 5 issues. I don't know where my head is at. So we're getting back to Chip Zdarsky's failsafe story. Now that the spirit of Zernar is now housed within the robot body of failsafe, all calamity and hell is going to break loose. Especially now that it doesn't matter if Jorge Jimenez returns to Batman. I'm not going to buy it. They kind of let their own cat out of the bag with the 3-month window of solicitations, and there's one coming out for the summer event called Absolute Power, where you have a dark trinity that's going to face off for control of the DC universe once again. And it's Amanda Waller. It's Failsafe with Zernar inside of the Failsafe robot, and then there's the Brainiac Queen. And this is some character, I believe, that's coming across in Action Comics. There's been some hints all over the Superman and Action Comics I've been reading for months. And let's see. Did I catch Wes and Doc's videos from this morning? Eric in relation to X-Men with all the same-sex relationships they were tired of. No, I did not. Yeah. And I didn't. Yeah, I haven't yet. I've been doing chores all day. And, it's hard work, the production studio and getting, the show notes from the executive producer in a timely manner. We don't even get a rehearsal sometimes. He doesn't. Sometimes he doesn't feed us. And then we have Batman Superman issue number 24. Batman Superman World's Finest. Number 24, which finishes up the Return to Kingdom Come. Yeah. Oh, Pika doesn't know. Pika's housebroken. He flushes, and that's a good thing. Yeah, I am. That's a crucial thing of training your Pokemon. Lansing and Smelly? Are you kidding me? You want to bring them to our party? Oh, behave. Please. We'll put them at the kids' table, please. Ruin my baseball team. So, World's Finest number 24. That happened, sure. I mean, it's just the resolution of a flashback story. There's just the one thing about Superman Batman's World's Finest, it's fun and it's cute and it looks really good, especially when you got Dan Mora doing the pencils. And but the biggest drawback is that there's absolutely no stakes and no tension because it's set in a way back in several years ago, somewhere earlier in their career. But everyone's already doing what they're doing. Robin's been Robining for a couple of years, so Batman's been Batmaning for a few years, and so everyone's at this ideal age, pretty much the Bronze Age, too. But I mean, what are you going to do with all these things set in the way ago? I mean, just there's no anticipation, there's no tension being built because everything works out, and because the current age is being told month by month, So these are all just, it's kind of like those Marvel 0.1 issues that like. Yeah, everything's going to turn out all right, there are no stakes to this, so you kind of like, now that I've seen like the solicit to Wolverine 50, I didn't mean to, and I'm like, because I've already seen Fall of the House of X's 1 and 2. Unfortunately, now I know that everything turns fine for Wolverine, and there's no. Now it does great art and it's over the top, bloody and gory, and it might not be safe for some of the supporting characters, but I mean, just, you know what I mean? And that's it for the digital comic. That's it for the pirate chests. What's in the bag? That's right. We're going to play What's in the Bag, this is the ubiquitous brown paper bag that we get from our local comic book shop, our LCS, Local Comic Book Shop. Remember, first Saturday in May is Free Comic Book Day. Go and get yours. There's going to be an Energon Universe number 1 that I am definitely going to get my paws on. I'm hopefully going to visit 2 comic book shops that day. That's my goal. Maybe 3 if I could. That's an ambitious goal. I'd have to start off early and plan out my trip and execute it in precision lockstep with the bus schedule. What's in the bag? Well, we got a bag full of funny books. So I went to 2 comic book shops this week. My usual LCS, Kamikaze, in Davis Square, Somerville, Massachusetts. And then Friday, I had the day off. Well, I had a rite of passage into middle age. I had my first colonoscopy. And I'm grateful and blessed that I have medical insurance and a union job where I can take a day or 2 off to get stuff like this sorted out. I'm of the age, no problems. I was clear. They didn't remove any polyps because there weren't any defined, and I'm very blessed and grateful. And there's just a little thing I gotta like worry about, and it's kind of like hereditary in my family that I like, oh, okay. And I'll see you again in 5 years. Oh my gosh. But so I was able to go to the comic book shop on Friday, my secondary, which is the Magic Dragon on Warren Street in Arlington, Massachusetts, and which is just a bus ride away. And I was able to get most of the comic books that I mentioned I was not able to get at my primary, with the exception of The Sickness #4. But that's like so indie. It really is. So what's in the bag? Let's see what's in the bag. We've got funny books. A stack of funny books. Oh no, we spoiled it. Well, let's show everyone. We got G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, issue number 304, written by Larry Hama. Great interior art by Chris Mooneyham with these incredibly awesome Andy Kubert covers. This is just a really good book. Great panels, great action. I am a Generation 1 Hasbro G.I. Joe fan. We're going to kind of talk about that a little bit because while I was at the Dragon there, I looked in the dollar bin, the Magic Dragon. Sorry. I was looking in the dollar bins in the back issue. So I was looking specifically for Wolverine issue number 25 by Mark Miller, John Romita Jr. and Klaus Janson. And because that's the only one I'm missing from that 12-issue run. So I came across 5 issues of G.I. Joe that I had as a kid. I had all these as a kid. These are reader copies. I mean, look at all the dings. These are just torn apart. But I got them all for like $3, I think. He just he just looked at them. He was like, yeah, $3. Yeah, okay. It was like all my funny books all together were $30. And yeah, but I got issues 9, 12, 11. I got 12, 13, 14, and 15. And I got 16 out there on my spinner rack. And yeah, you're right, AL. These are loved. They're well loved. And I'm giving them a second life. I've read them all again. I literally had all these. This was the first issue of G.I. Joe that I got in the mail with my mail-in subscription. I had a G.I. Joe mail-in subscription at 10 years old. You see, this is September of 1983. So that would have got this in what, June, July, August, September. Yeah. So I think this one has come out in June 83. And yeah, I was 10 years old. That's Dr. Venom. And that's Quinn, the Inuit. We used to be Quinn the Eskimo, but that's like stuff like saying that on Twitter will get you in trouble with the oversensitive people of the world. No, that's a hate crime. And also the Cobra, the double agent known as Scarface. And thank you, David. We are all saying prayers for your dad, AL. We really are. And this was the first I got in the mail with that mail-in subscription that I was able to talk my mom into. It's just like, hey, we can save a couple of, we can save money on each issue if I get it sent to me in the mail. And she was like, okay. And it came every month. in a brown paper bag wrapper. Oh, look at this. You get to see Destro's true feelings for Baroness. Oh, do you love him? No, I love you. Destro, Would you betray me? No. Great melodrama. Look, romance behind enemy lines. Indeed. So, and I only had it for 2 years, so my mail-in subscription ends about issue 29 or 30 or so. I bought it still, but this, A Real American Hero by Larry Hama, written by the same dude. I mean, yeah, Stephen Grant wrote this issue 9, sure, and but Larry Hama has basically wrote almost every issue of G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, and it's the same story, and it's been going on since I was a kid. This is great, and this is a really fun comic book. It's really easy to get into as well. It restarted at issue 301, and I'm here for that ride. Hulk number 9. I got the Marvel 97 variant cover because I ended up finding this at my secondary comic book shop, who they do carry variant covers, and it wasn't anything more expensive either. It was $3.99, and this is the 3rd variant cover. You can tell that all this information from the UPC code right there, the last 5 numbers, 009. That means the issue number. So this is issue 9. The next digit 3 means this is the 3rd cover, and the next number is 1. That means this is the 1st printing. See, there's a thing to this. I like this, and there was another variant cover, but I like this one. This one caught my eye and made me happy. The interior art, though, I mean, this is still, I've been reading this. This is Phil Kennedy Johnson. Usually Nick Klein is doing the art, but we have Danny Earls as the guest artist. And let me tell you that a Hulk comic book is usually a very loud place, full of organic noises and also mechanical noises, noises of destruction, noises of explosions. So onomatopoeia, the sound effects of a comic book, go a really long way. Nick Klein, the guy who's been doing the books, is great at drawing his own onomatopoeia, but I don't know, can you see how artificial and cut and pasted those sound effects are? Those were not drawn by hand. Those were put in there after the line art was done. And it's like pretty interesting panels, nice transformation scene. I mean, this must be agonizing for Banner, because literally the Hulk's pouring out of him, like coming out of him. And so it's like, it's just really interesting Hulk transformation scene. But I mean, this is the Nick Klein art is just so good. So, I mean, I usually don't do a 10-point scale, but I'll give this one a 7 out of 10 because this could have been a lot better with Nick Klein art. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. Ultimate Spider-Man number 2, and I got a variant cover. And and this was $4.99 anyway. See, it's issue number 2. This is the 3rd cover, and that's the 1st printing. And that's Ultimate Spider-Man number 2. And this is a play on the is that a Capullo cover? This is the Delgado cover. And is this the Capullo cover? Let's see. Not sure. But this is Face It, Tigress, you just hit the jackpot, which is the play on the whole Face It, Tiger, you just hit the jackpot. Well, this is really good. I mean, look, the art in this is really good. I love this initial Spider-Man costume. He's going to tweak it. That's going to happen. But It's a Hickman story, so there's a lot of blah, blah, blah to it. A lot of blah, blah, blah. But it's going somewhere, and I'm here for the ride. And it's got Green Lantern number 8, which was sold out at my local comic book shop last week, and I got a copy at my secondary store. That was nice. And $4.99. It has a backup feature with Ron Mars and Dale Eaglesham and a Kyle Rayner backup, which I thought was kind of, as Eaglesham art goes, I mean, I love Eaglesham's art, but this looks like it was scratched out on an iPad. And I mean, and it makes me suspect that, he's like, that's the girl from the refrigerator. That's Alex DeCamp. Alex DeWitt. I think it's Alex DeWitt. Yeah. And that's his ex-girlfriend that Major Force killed and stuffed in the fridge. So I'm thinking, like, does Kyle get like lonely and like, and it has like, relations with the construct of his ex, But I'm a big Kyle Rayner fan. I really am. And but yeah, I mean, this is just it's just Green Lantern. Well, nothing much going on here besides ring slinging and making constructs and stuff. I mean, Madame Xanadu. Hey, looking busty there, huh? But she's supposed to be blind, isn't she? Correct me if I'm wrong. Oh my goodness, mon hair! It's everybody. It's Gray from Wakazashi's Tea House. It's like royalty. Ultimate Spider-Man was surprisingly good. It was. Green Lantern is awesome. I'm liking it a lot. That is also on my pull list. Yeah. And Jojo Mullen shows up, and we've got stuff to do. Kyle, come on, quit your moping. Yeah, it's just that happened. Hellblazer, Dead in America, issue 2. This is really good. This is as close as we're ever going to get to the original John Constantine's Hellblazer that we got in Vertigo Comics. This is original recipe. Really good stuff. I'm so glad that I'm into it. The art's pretty good. Yeah, it's spooky. It's creepy. It's got the usual kind of stakes that you can get in a John Constantine book. Anyone is fair game. How is it? It's a mini series, but there have been a couple of previous Cy Spurrier miniseries in the same Sandman universe format. This could be the third series of that, I believe. At least the second, perhaps the third. And I'm now interested in catching up to what came before this. And yeah, but it's definitely original brand John Constantine, and I'm loving it. I loved Hellblazer. What a book. All righty. Ronin book 2, issue 6, wrapping up this series from the Frank Miller Presents press. Now, I wish that other titles of Frank Miller's was popular. He's got this whole Ancient Enemies line of heroes and enemies, and I guess this was the only book to get traction because it is the sequel of one of his greatest 80s books. I can't tell you what's going on in this book, really. I mean, now I have all 6. Now I'm going to read all of them. And it's confusing, it's confounding, and I really had that same feeling with the original. The original Ronin by DC Comics, that wasn't my thing, man. But this has Frank Miller art, and it's inked by Daniel Enriquez. Daniel Enriquez, and hand lettering by John Workman. I mean, this could be Frank Miller's swan song. And every page is a splash page. And as I love to say, that Dan DiDio himself sold me on this comic book last year at Wicked Comic Con 2023. His table was next to H. German of Sigma Comics, who makes Here Comes Calico, who I always say hi to, spend a few minutes with at every con I'm at. I see him there. And there's Dan DiDio, and I talked to him for felt like 10 minutes, and he just turns the page. He's like, splash page, splash page, splash page. AL, you have a good day. Good to see you. And I hope to see you on Wednesday as well, 4 p.m. U.S. Eastern. Come on by. So yeah, that wraps up Ronin book 2. And Cobra Commander, issue number 2 from Skybound. This is part of the Energon universe, and this is really good stuff. I mean, just Joshua Williamson is cranking it out of the park on this. Caution, the content of this book is confidential. Let's see. This is issue 2, and this is the primary cover, and it's its first printing, because this has like several variant covers. And pretty much maybe my pick of the week, too. It's just a common issue of Superman. It's Superman issue number 11 by Joshua Williamson, who's doing pretty decent work, like the yeoman's work. He's just, he's cranking out respectable, decent stories. And I really, really, really like that. And this is this is the Lex Luthor Revenge Squad. And it's really interesting. There's a bunch of bad guys that Williamson made up himself. And it's just, this is chapter 11 in this like year-long plus arc. And so we have these creators on books for a nice juicy arc that they have some time to play with. They can map out their stories, and we can have some anticipation and some suspense to our serials. SERIALS serials, or to our serialized floppies, to how these stories come to us. I love that. And those were the new comics this week. But we do have a backup bag of comic books, because I got a package from Yul Carter of Fantastic Comics in Berkeley, California. See, like, coming to my comic book shop an hour later and being shut out of some titles here and there. Well, sometimes the first thing I'll do is I'll hit up Yul Carter and see, like, hey, can you get me this? Can you get me that? And he's been pretty good about getting me some books, and he always sends me one of his nifty free comic book day books with he'll start me a bag and we'll fill it up, and we'll get to a point where it's like, okay, well, you want to pull the trigger on this? I'm like, sure. And this is my fourth purchase from Fantastic Comics of Berkeley, California. And I'd like to say that I usually say that I have 8 different local comic book shops within striking distance of this fortress of solitude, but actually the number is 9. For I have Yul Carter on my side and the power of Fantastic Comics, and you could too. You could be your very own mailbox away from having your local comic book shop. Talk to Yul Carter. His deets are in the description of this show. This is not a paid advertisement. He is my friend. What did Yul send me? Let's see. Well, one thing I like to, he's usually when I order with him, he'll send along some stuff that just for free, and stuff he thinks I'll like. And I'm so happy about that. Jim, are you still out there? Gray, are you still out there? Because Yul sent along this to me. Skrull Kill Crew, issue number 1, written by Grant Morrison and Mark Miller, with pencils by Steve Yoel, and we're all fans of the Invisibles, and they are doing their own series on Grant Morrison, which is great. You should tune into Wakazashi's Tea House, and once a week usually have Gray and Jim hanging out for over a half an hour talking about an issue of Animal Man or The Invisibles or something else. I hope they'll get to everything else, like The Filth or DC 1 Million, or even like his failures, such as Sea Guy, Annihilation, and what was the other one? Was it called Hopeless? Or just there's he's got a few stinkers. Is it any good? Says Gray. It's kind of fun. It's a 1996 book, so it's filled with the art of that the art style of its day, and it's not terrible. But it's like young Grant and young Mark Miller. You know what I mean? Teaming up. And this is fun stuff. He also sent along a 1975-1976 copy of Invincible Iron Man. You could tell by the cover price, Marvel sold their comics for a quarter only in 1975 and 1976. So, and this was fun. This is just an old comic book. This Bronze Age baby. And then a 1980 copy of Green Lantern. You get, like, once again, I can tell by the cover price, 50 cents. Let's look at the indicia. Yeah, see that? Volume 19, number 137. How's that volume 19 of Green Lantern? Indeed. But February 1981. So this came out in November of 1980. 50-cent comic book. Isn't that great? Loving that. These are going on my spinner rack. He also sent along this Doomsday Squad on Llewellyn Comics. This is on Fantagraphic Books. Look out for Lloyd Llewellyn. And these are reprints of some work that John Byrne did in the early 1970s. That's really cool. So we can see how far Byrne's come. This is like way before he started doing X-Men, in the late 70s. So we can see his evolving style. Oh, this is good stuff. What? You didn't see that, did you? No. I knew I was missing Count Dante number 4. I thought I had them all. I didn't. So he had one, and I was happy to take it off him. My comic book shop was sold out. Actually, they were not sold out of 43. They had one copy left when I went there last week. But I had Yule on the line anyway, and we were finishing out my purchase. The previous 2 weeks ago, they did not have 42. So I said, hey, you got 43? I'll take one of your 43s. And that'll, throw that in the pile too. And because I'm a sucker for this year's Santa variants, I see, do you have any Santa variants like the Green Arrow or the Titans? And he's like, I got the Green Arrow one. I was like, I will take that. This mimics the famous Green Arrow, Green Lantern stories from the early 1970s from Neil Adams. Yeah, and Denny O'Neil. Love that cover. Isn't that cool? Because I missed Superman number 10. That was one of the things I hit him up for. It was Superman. This is a really good issue. Interior art by Bruno Redondo, who's doing like a lot of the covers for Nightwing. And just like, I know it's very digital like, but it's, like an interesting use of white as like using it as a mask on the inside of the hat. And this was I mean, look at the splash page. I mean, yeah, don't get lost in the whole thing of click and point, and that's how it was colored, because that's how it was colored. But I think Bruno Redondo does some good stuff. And it's Superman lost in time. He's been traveled back to the old West for a day, but that's like a day in the life of Superman. That's strange stuff happens to him. And I just like how he's coming out of the time warp, and Metropolis like kind of just builds around him in the background. I like that, like the passage of time there. It's a nice sequence of panels. Because Junior Baker #5 was sold out. Like I went and hit up Yule. And he was able to send me a copy. Thank you, Yule Carter. This is a really good book. And the last two, Transformers #5 and Duke #2. Duke #2 was sold out. And this is which which cover is this? Oh, this is the first cover. Oh, that's Transformers. Let's see. This is the Duke cover. So it's issue #2. This is the second cover, and it's a first printing. But that's a smudge. That's a. I don't care. I just care that I got my funny book, Duke #2, and I love the Baroness. Okay, she'll be on the cover next week. So yeah, and I got my Transformers 5. Oh, this is a wonderful magazine. So yeah, I mean, these Energon Universe magazines are really, really fun. And that's it for new comic books this week. Indeed. Let's look at the show notes. Are we missing anything, Pika? We got to wrap the show up, you know? Oh, yeah. Here's something. DC Comics has announced that in July, they are returning to Wednesdays as their new release day in response to discomfort from customers and retailers. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you, DC Comics, for listening to us. And Lansing and Smitty. Oh, who brought these two? Oh, that's right. Transformers 5 was so good. Bern Charlton in 1975. Dwayne Move's got an encyclopedic knowledge of the Bronze Age. It's wonderful. It's really nice. Yeah, Absolute Power is coming up. That's right. I know. But yeah, just seeing that that solicit thing for it, it's just like, oh, I guess that's what's happening to Zernar and Failsafe, huh? I mean, I don't have to worry about buying any more Batman, even for the Jorge Jimenez art. I mean, which was why I was getting it, because the story's been a kind of meh. So yeah, so I think that's good news. I like that DC is going back to Wednesdays. That shows a little unity with the culture. Because like, geez, I'm at the Magic Dragon on Friday, and they're already putting together poll boxes for next Wednesday's comics. I mean, they have the physical copies a week or two before their release date. So it's basically a glorified honor system. That Wednesday is new release day. Yet, I mean, then someone like me or someone like you that only goes one day a week to that one day does so much. It gives you so much. It gives someone an advantage. I mean, I don't want to be going to the comic book shop just on a Tuesday and a Wednesday. I mean, that's not. That's not how it's done. I mean, if we go there once a week, isn't that good enough? You know, but I mean, that is good news. I like that. And that it's a response to criticism that, I'll take that. I'll take that as a W. And well, good to see you, Elaine. We're wrapping up the show anyway. And it's good to see everyone out there. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you're watching this in the replay, hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications, ring that bell. This is the Comics Talk with Reverend Sully. I'm an ordained minister, half my life, spiritual dude. This is the dojo for tactical and practical spirituality. It's really helped me out. I've suffered from the chronic mopies, the chronic angries, and the chronic lonelies all my life. And, besides therapy and anything else out there in life, spirituality was like the missing piece to that puzzle, and it's really helped me out, especially with gratitude lists, and they've helped me find my purpose. Like, seriously, I mean, I want to say, like, all love and respect and gratitude to Gary Beekler of Nerdrotic. He's the one that suggested this gratitude list to me, and it's made a very big impact on me. And so thank you, Gary, and I'm eternally grateful for you. And hopefully maybe I'll get to Dallas Fan Expo this year and get to tell you that myself in person and shake your hand. Thank you so very much for tuning in today. We are the Comics Talk with Reverend Sully, and we meet here twice a week. We'll see you again on Wednesday, 4 p.m., new release day, when we preview all the comics that are worth talking about that are coming out next Wednesday. And this could be us at my local comic book shop in the live chat being like, what are you getting? You know, or what did I miss? My poll list does not kick in for another couple of weeks. It takes like a month because it's an ordering thing, you know. But we'll see. Thank you so very much for tuning in today. God bless. Namaste. Good luck. And we will see you again in those funny pages. Thank you all for showing up. Cheers, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.